This guy, civil rights lawyer on YouTube, super interesting, talks about cop civil rights abuses. This one is titled Police Chief's Road Rage Disguised as Traffic Stop. Let's give it a listen.
Department in Pennsylvania reported to the public in the media.
Sorry, hold on.
A police department in Pennsylvania reported to the public in the media that they had arrested this guy, Benny, for resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, and then fleeing the scene. Benny was in a lot of trouble. But fortunately for him, he was able to obtain surveillance footage that showed what really happened was that Benny was just headed to work on his motorcycle, and he ends up getting attacked by this crazy-looking off-duty police chief in a road rage incident where he gets physically assaulted, attacked.
Holy shit, dude, that's crazy. You know, my wife is a civil rights lawyer, although she's in a different field. She is in the field of church-state separation more than like police abuse. She's like, she challenges things all the way up to like the Supreme Court, that kind of thing. And she's in policy, not litigation. So she like writes policy documents and testimony and stuff. Anyway, I've come to find that following civil rights trials or like watching what happens with them is of paramount importance. Because people are constantly trying to f you over. They're constantly, especially police, they're trying to get something from you. They're trying to push your rights back. And unless you push back against them, you're going to lose them. They're only respected if you, you only have those rights if you can exercise them. Whether it's in the law is immaterial. Legally, cops can't do this, but they do anyway, right?
Guns pointed at him out of literally nowhere, then runs away for his life. Tell me what you think. Who is the criminal here and who was the victim? Welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel, where my mission is to protect and defend your constitutional rights. Please help by not only subscribing, but liking, commenting, and sharing this footage so that what you see in this video and other videos that I do don't happen to other people. According to a press release issued by the Manheim Township Police Department in Pennsylvania, this man, Benny Xavier Pena Rivera, was arrested on multiple serious charges, including 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of evading arrest, 1 count of resisting arrest, 1 count of DUI-related something, and 5 counts of vehicle code violations. This is what they said happened. Around 5:13 p.m. on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, Chief Fisher was in the area of Lidditz Park and Chester Road. He was behind a black motorcycle that was not displaying a Pennsylvania registration plate. The motorcycle ran a red light on Lidditz Pike and York Road, passed vehicles on the right, rode up onto the sidewalk, weaved between vehicles, and did not use a turn signal.
You know, one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, in this situation, cops have body cam footage most of the time, assuming that they didn't, like, turn their body camera off or mute it or whatever, which does happen. It's possible to retrieve as long as you're a lawyer. You have to sue them to get access to the body cam footage a lot of the time. Not every time, I guess. They don't want to release the body cam footage willingly. They give you shit about it every single time. And who the f*** has the money to hire a lawyer to, like, get this body cam footage? Nearly nobody. So most of the time, cops get away with it. They do whatever the f*** they want, with no consequence. By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Fisher attempted to stop the motorcycle in the area of 1900 Fruitville Park. Chief Fisher was in an unmarked police vehicle and identified himself as Manheim Township Police. The rider started the motorcycle as Chief Fisher attempted to stop him from leaving. The suspect, later identified as Benny Pena Rivera, ignored orders to turn off the motorcycle, shoved Chief Fisher, and attempted to drive away. Pena Rivera got off the motorcycle, and it was between him and Chief Fisher. Pena Rivera used the bike to push Chief Fisher and make an escape on foot. A search of the area ensued. Pena Rivera was identified as the rider by police investigation. So that was the official police narrative as of their press release dated May 2nd. But Benny knew that's not how it happened. Here's what he told the local TV news.
I actually saw him on the road on the traffic light that he said that I...
Look at bro's haircut. Who did this for him? His mom? Did his mom do this with a bowl? I don't think I've seen this since 6th grade. And what the fuck is he wearing around his neck? I'm sorry. This guy may actually be a good guy that was like defending this other person. I'm not sure. I haven't listened far enough in yet, but there's no excuse for this haircut. None.
But he actually waved at me and everything, like, you know, hello, and everything just went normal.
Hello.
Far as he knew, he saw a guy not in a police car, not wearing a police uniform, wave at him. He thought he was saying hello. Then he arrives at work, he parks his motorcycle, and as he prepares to get off to go inside his place of employment, the guy he thought was saying hello earlier in traffic pulls up and jumps out of his not police car in his not police clothing, but pointing a gun.
All I heard it was underground, I will shoot you. And I'm like, oh.
Wait, so he was the guy with the haircut was the one who was like, he was the victim here, huh? Wow, dude. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like that haircut kind of like lends you to be victimized by things. Like it kind of draws attention to you a little bit, so.
What's going on? You know, what's the reason for all this to be happening at all? And all of a sudden, I just have a gun on my face, like literally on my face. And then on top of that, he's wrestling with me with the gun. And
dude, having a gun in your face is fucking scary. I mean, you don't know if it's loaded or not. You have to assume that it is and that the safety is off and everything. And your life flashes before your eyes when that shit happens. It's really disturbing.
If it wasn't because I actually flee out of the season, I don't even know what would even happen.
This surveillance footage that was later obtained shows the police chief, Dwayne Fisher, exiting his car that has no lights on it. No emergency lights at all. No indication that it's a police car. Get out of his car wearing shorts, a short sleeve shirt, clearly not a police uniform. No indication that he's a police officer. Aiming a pistol and approaching Peña Rivera, who's sitting on his motorcycle, then physically grabs Peña Rivera by the shoulder, pushing him. And after a few seconds, the police chief holsters his gun and the two continue to grapple until Fisher pulls Peña Rivera off the motorcycle and eventually out of the camera's view. Peña Rivera told the TV news that he fled the scene and then he ran back to his house. Chief Fisher would only turn on his police lights after Peña Rivera left the scene. Police later located Peña Rivera and arrested him. So the guy is then sitting in jail because he can't post bail. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for May 14th. So
That's fucking vile, dude. Like the shit that cops do to people. And that is with us having like body cams now. We didn't have body cams until recently. Like in my lifetime, they got body cams. It's like, what did cops do before that? The answer is we know, really. I don't know if you guys remember this whole thing. Probably not. I wasn't alive when it happened, but dude named Rodney King was taken out of his car after being pulled over and had the shit beat out of him completely. Like, just brutally. Like, he couldn't see anymore. It was about as disturbing as it gets, truthfully. And this is in like the 90s, and for the first time, people got it on camera. It was outside of an apartment building, I think. And there's like a black family inside that was taking like an old camcorder that they had. Well, it was new at the time, I guess, because they were kind of a new commercial thing. And they recorded it. And for the first time ever, really, the first big police brutality case broke out at that point. What did they do before body cam footage? The answer is nothing. Nothing. They didn't do anything. They didn't have an option. What the fuck were they supposed to do? They're supposed to get the shit beat out of them, of course. And that's what happened more often than not. And as a direct result of the Rodney King trial, O.J. Simpson was let out. He was acquitted on his trial. So these shitheads cause problems for people left and right. They always have. And we need to call these people out for real. Like, it's absolutely unacceptable.
14th rolls around, and all of a sudden there's an update in the TV news story about this arrest. It said, update, charges dropped against Lidditz man accused of resisting arrest, assaulting police officer. Prosecutors dropped the most serious charges against Benny Xavier Peña Rivera, 24, who is instead pleading guilty to 6 summary traffic offenses. Why? Well, according to Lancaster Online, a video of the alleged confrontation between Pena Rivera and the arresting officer in the April 30th incident appears to conflict with the Manheim Township Police Department's account of the incident. Then, a day or two later, there's another update in the media. Fox 43 reported that Chief Dwayne Fisher, following the appearance of this video, has now been placed on administrative leave pending investigation by the department.
Okay, well, that's something, I suppose. Not nothing, right?
Lancaster County District Attorney Heather Adams released the following statement after the charges were dropped at that first court hearing. The Manheim Police Department and the parties agreed with the resolution of the charges in this manner based on the facts and circumstances of this case. We are not investigating this incident.
This guy needs to be charged with attempted murder, in all seriousness. Forget the fact that he was a cop. Just forget it. It's irrelevant whether he was a cop. He was not there to execute official police duties. He was there for a road rage incident because he had road rage. He should be treated as though he was any other asshole on the street who jumped out of his car and shoved a gun in someone's face. And shoved a gun in someone's face. Assault and battery, attempted murder, whatever charges. I don't give a fuck if you're a cop. But you know the cops deal with prosecutors closely every day, especially high up police officers. And as a result, they get lesser charges anytime they do something wrong. It's vile.
Lancaster County District Attorney's Office does not investigate use of force or internal policy violations of police departments that do not rise to the level of a potential criminal act. Okay, but why would the Manheim Police Department agree to the charges being dropped? They said that this guy assaulted a police officer and fled the scene. So they just let him plead guilty to traffic violations? Why would they be okay with that? In fact, they still have this press release up on their website where they accuse Benny of all sorts of serious crimes. Do you think that there is an update press release where they say that all the charges are dropped? No.
They should remove the press release and then release an update. It's just vile, dude. Like, these people, there are no good cops. You know why? Because the good ones are watching what the bad ones are doing and not saying or doing shit. I suppose there are probably a few good cops out there who, like, want to do something but can't. I would be willing to buy that. But the vast majority of police don't give a fuck and are just letting it play out the way it plays out. It's straight up fucking disgusting, honestly.
Of course not. And the DA who dropped the charges against Benny said that there's no criminal investigation because they don't get involved in police disciplinary policy issues. Well,
the prosecutor doesn't? Are you fucking serious?
Wait a minute. Now, generally, when we jump out of our car and we aim a gun at somebody on a motorcycle and we physically assault them, drag them off the motorcycle.
Outside of your role as a police officer, because he wasn't a police officer in that moment,
etc., we get in trouble for that if we're not a police officer. What she's really saying is that it's her opinion that what he did was justified. If that's true, why drop the charges? You know what I think? She knows that that's not true. She just takes the position that some people are above the law. Really, no crimes at all were committed here? Let's look back at the official police narrative, the official police statement, and compare that with the video where they busted red-handed lying to the media and the public about what they did. The statement said Chief Fisher was in an unmarked police vehicle and identified himself as Manheim Township Police. Yet the video shows that this was an unmarked car and that there were no emergency lights activated until after this incident was entirely.
He didn't even draw the dude's attention until he got out. Watch this. Dude's just sitting there on his bike, right?
And that there were no emergency.
He gets out of his car. He does something. I don't know what. He does not alert the guy to anything.
Activated until after this incident was entirely.
Like, what the f*** did he drop on his windshield? I don't know what that is. Is that his phone? I have no clue, but there's no body cam footage. The only reason we have access to this is because it was some fucking CCTV camera that was hanging up in a building. If it was his phone, he chose not to record the incident because he had the opportunity. right? Straight up vile, man. These people are vile.
Over. The statement said the rider started the motorcycle as Chief Fisher attempted to stop him from leaving.
I'm not actually even sure what the guy did. I missed it, I guess. Like, why was he pissed off at him in the first place? Aggravated assault? Whoa, okay, wait a minute. This is what the dude was arrested for. Aggravated assault, evading arrest or detention on foot, and resisting arrest. Are you fucking serious right now?
Drive away, and that Pena Rivera got off the motorcycle and it was between him and Chief Fisher. Is that what the video showed? Or did the video show that the chief of police jumped out of the car with no emergency lights on, no uniform on?
The guy flat out lied. The fucking cop flat out lied in a police report. You know what? On top of attempted murder and all of that shit, put falsifying a police report down too. He should be in prison for 20 years for this shit. Seriously. Is he still waltzing around? Is he still dealing with, like, is he still on the force? This is why people say there are no good cops. Because, you know, this one fucking asshole does this, and the other 50 people on the force turn a blind eye and continue just doing their thing. It's absolutely fucking disgusting, man. I'm telling you. It's wrong. It's just vile.
Approached this individual, pointing a gun at him, and physically put his hands on Pena Rivera, and himself pulled Pena Rivera off the motorcycle. The statement said Pena Rivera used the bike to push Chief Fisher and make an escape on foot. Is that what happened, really? Or does the video completely show that to be a lie?
Wow, dude. He claimed that the dude, like, ran on foot, and he didn't.
Not what happened at all. He did not use the bike to push the chief and make an escape. That was a complete fabrication created at a time when this police department believed that there was no video footage of what happened.
What a piece of shit, dude. Seriously. That is absolutely unforgivable in my mind. He should be in federal fuck you in the ass prison, in my opinion. Not that I want that to happen to him. I'm just saying that's where the dude should be. For 20 years. Behind bars. He certainly should never, ever be on the force again because he cannot be trusted to be a normal fucking human being. He can't be trusted to treat people with respect, to protect and serve. What is wrong with not just him, but everybody all along the line that enabled this type of behavior and did not punish him for this adequately? What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? I was watching this thing earlier that I'm not sure we'll have time to get to, so I'm just gonna lay it out here and we'll finish this. There's a guy that was with this woman, his wife. He's married to her. They lived in the same house. They get in a fight. He leaves to get some fresh air, gets in his car, he drives off. A little while later, he comes back. Unbeknownst to him, while he was gone, his wife got a domestic violence protection order on him, DVPO. Basically just like a what do you call it? There's a restraining order, basically. So he comes back. He has no idea that this order is, like, in effect. He wasn't told. He wasn't served any papers. He wasn't nothing. She isn't even in the house. He walks into the house and, like, sets his shit down. And cops, I mean, it's pitch black in there. Cops come out of the shadows and, like, try to restrain him. And he has no idea what's going on. And he starts, like, fighting them off. They didn't say a word to him. They didn't tell him they were there to serve anything. One of them takes his mag light and busts the dude in the face and, like, crumbles his eye socket. Finally, the guy stopped trying to, like, fend him off and went into defense mode and wrestled the mag light away from the cop and then hit them both in the face with the mag light and dropped it and ran into the woods. So they call, so he goes to his mom's house after that and calls his parole officer because he was on parole. He calls his parole officer and says, I want to turn myself in because I just want to deal with this. Like, I didn't do anything wrong as far as I knew. I just want to get this over with. So the parole officer says, okay, just come in on Monday because it's a Friday. Well, the sheriff, I guess, contacts his mom and says, well, he can turn himself in today. Just come on down. So his mom calls him and says, they said you can go down and deal with this. And he says, all right, well, I'm going down now. So he gets in his car to go down to the courthouse, and the sheriff knew where he was coming from and that he was going there. And on his way to the courthouse, some cops pull up behind him and are like following him, like 2 cop cars following him right on his ass. He gets in a car accident. I don't know if that was the fault of the cops. Who knows? Probably, right? Gets in a car accident. The cop gets out, pulls him out of the car, and the 3 or 4 of them, I think, proceed to beat the shit out of him. I mean, until he was unconscious. He was a fucking mess, dude. It was so bad. You couldn't even, like, he didn't look human anymore afterward. It was so insane. If you want to hear about the story, it's my client's face has freak encounter with a guardrail, quote unquote. The cops claimed that he headbutted a guardrail, and that's why he looked all fucked up. Look at this,
This
dude.
is what it would look like if you smashed your own face into a guardrail. And I don't want to violate any World Health
He's literally missing teeth. They beat him so hard that he's missing teeth.
Organization standards here.
Oh, yeah, and conveniently, none of them had body cam footage at any point along the way.
So I don't want to give any false information, but I mean, you got to do a hell of a job of headbutting a guardrail to do all that damage in one.
Yeah, they claimed he headbutted a guardrail. That's fucking wild, right? They just do whatever the fuck they want. They don't care. They're willing to lie, manipulate, cheat, steal, whatever.
What happened?
Whatever it takes. Because they know they're pretty much immune from prosecution. When something goes down, like they pull out a gun and stick it in some unsuspecting dude's face, like in this case, they know they're not going to face any disciplinary action. And if they do, if they're fired from the force, there is no universal database of cops that have been fired from the force intentionally. That used to exist, and Republicans banned those lists from existing. So they can just go to another police force, and that's it. It's just like, what the fuck, man? You know, I used to get pulled over like every single time I went through my little town in Milton, West Virginia. Every time. Wouldn't even do anything. I'm just riding around, and suddenly I get pulled over for nothing. Turns out that's illegal, and I could sue the shit out of them for that if I wanted. They can't just pull me over for nothing and then search me as they do, or as they did. I can't tell you how many times I've been searched. Point is, like, these people are just fucking vile, bottom of the barrel, evil fucking people, and they are the representation of force in society, which we need. We need that. You know, woman's getting beaten up by her husband. We need a representation of force to come in and protect her from that type of thing. But they know they're the representation of force, and they know that they can do whatever the fuck they want with zero consequence. Zero. Keep listening to this.
When this police department believed that there was no video footage of what happened. Perhaps that's why he had the emergency lights off of his cruiser, because that may have activated a dash cam that would have recorded what actually happened. They thought there was no video footage.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. It would have activated a dash cam. Huh. That's a really good idea. Damn. I remember when body cam bills started like circulating. I mean, we've had small cameras that would have fit on bodies like that for like ever. But I remember when they were debating whether they were going to like make them widely available and put them on every police officer. This is forever ago. And we finally get it to the point where pretty much every single cop has them on, and you can subpoena them if you want. And they still have the ability to turn them off for some fucking reason. In my opinion, I'm leaning toward maybe the cops don't have the ability to turn them off at all, and possibly maybe they're live streamed to like a database that can be accessed by anybody if they want. I'm thinking that might be what we should do. You know, if you need to have a sensitive conversation with somebody that could put someone else in danger, have a social worker have that conversation. There is no fucking reason a police officer should be having sensitive conversations, like, for example, with children. No fucking reason for that shit. They don't know the first fucking thing about psychology or what's good for children or anybody. They are representation of force. I know you want to be more than that, but you were too fucking stupid to pass the psychology test to do anything more than hold a gun and aim it at people. So you do not have the privilege of being anything more than a dumbass that knows how to flip the safety off. That's pretty much it, in my opinion. You aren't even, as a cop, you're not even trusted to know when to arrest somebody. That's why you need a warrant to do it. Nobody fucking trusts you. Anyway, and even more stupid than that, security guards. People who couldn't pass the personality test to be more than a cop and couldn't pass a personality test to be a cop even become security guards.
They lied. They incarcerated a man who at best had committed minor traffic offenses for days and days, weeks, tried to destroy his life. And they weren't going to do the right thing. They weren't going to tell the truth. Nobody
Of course, and cops stand behind their own every time, even when one of their own is lying.
was until the video surfaced, thanks to this guy himself or his lawyers, and put it on the news.
To be fair, I have dealt with good cops. I've had good cops before. I was arrested long and long ago, and I had a good cop that helped me with shit. I should have gone to prison at one point. And this cop, believed in me, believed that I could be something more than I was back when I was just a complete fucking mess after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, and spoke up on my behalf, spoke to the judge to help me, and told the judge he believed that he should let me out of, he shouldn't send me to jail tonight, and he should let me out on my own recognizance. And that he believed that I should get a light sentence, that I just shouldn't go to jail at all. He didn't have to do that shit. He could have simply sent me through the system and shut his mouth and not even given a fuck. That's what he could have done. And he chose not to do it that way. So there are cops out there that care, that are decent, but they're covering for people like this piece of shit right here. And if they're not covering for them, then they're complicit at the very least. They're just completely ignoring it. They're acting like this doesn't happen at all. So
anything that protects you, that protects me from our government, is video footage. This is a great example of that. Who are we going to believe, the Manheim Township Police or our lying eyes? We can see what this looks like. This looks like your everyday road rage incident, which, by the way, appears to happen all the time with off-duty police officers.
Yeah, seriously, it's a problem, honestly. Cops cannot help themselves but to be colossal pieces of shit constantly. They have to be better than regular people. They can't have road rage incidents because they have a badge and a gun. When they have road rage incidents, the government oppresses people when that happens. It's not just them being a dickhead. It's not just a personal spat between one person and another. It is now the government enforcing oppression against somebody. They have to be above everybody else. I have higher standards. People will say, well, they're all human. No, they can't be human. Those people don't have the luxury of being human because they have authority that is absolutely unreal, an unreal amount of authority.
Maybe he wasn't off duty. Maybe it's their policy for this guy to not wear a uniform and to instead wear shorts and not activate his emergency lights, and so on and so forth. Or perhaps it was a road rage incident that was covered up because they didn't believe it was caught on video and disguised as, hey, we caught a criminal. He attacked a police officer. We have to back the blue. We're going to give him a high bond, keep him incarcerated, and he is going to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. So we have a victim. An innocent victim. Okay, he committed traffic violations. We have punishments for that.
Did he commit a traffic violation? I missed that part.
Apparently pled guilty to that. But a much more serious crime was committed by this.
Yeah, multiple felonies were committed by this cop, abusing his authority and everything. What the fuck, dude? This guy should have gone to prison for the rest of his fucking life for what he did, honestly.
Of police. And while he may end up getting disciplined, he may end up getting fired. Even if that happens, that's not enough. Nobody is above the law, right? No force was justified here, much less deadly force. Quite the opposite, actually. What would we do as law-abiding citizens if somebody breaks in our home or attacks us with a firearm where there's no indication it's a police officer, where it appears as if we're being attacked by a criminal? If somebody
It's interesting. Somebody says to me as a European, the concept of a school officer is foreign to me. Right. They're called resource officers, I think. And I'm not opposed to them in concept necessarily. Sometimes there is a need for resource officers. Not very often, but when there's a fight, teachers shouldn't be expected to break that fight up. And there are fights pretty often. I don't know about in Europe, but, you know, not even in West Virginia. It didn't happen very often in West Virginia. But in New York City, there people like got the shit beat out of them regularly. And it wasn't like they weren't trying to prevent that from happening. They absolutely were, the teachers and everything. It's just the students were shitheads a lot of the time. They were just like willing to just punch other people randomly. And in that case, a representation of force is necessary. In pretty much every other case, I'm all in for, like, you know, social workers handling this stuff. Shouldn't even be teachers handling it, truthfully. Because teachers, they you know, they have a job, and their job is not to, like, you know, be a psychologist to students. But I don't have a problem with resource officers is my point. I think it's okay.
Tax us in that manner, it would be reasonable for us to use deadly force, but only if we're protected by video footage. And here, it saved this guy from these serious criminal charges. Even so, the government is still not willing to take responsibility and accountability. This district attorney...
This dude got criminal charges even after this shit, dude. That's fucking wild. After they saw what this fucking cop did, they are still charging this guy criminally. This is what I'm talking about. Not just the police force, but the fucking prosecutors are all working together. What the fuck is wrong with these people? You know, these people, they're all Trump supporters. These are the people who believe Mexicans are causing problems in society and everything else. You know why? Not because being in this job, like, you know, turns people this way, but because white supremacists seek out this job. That's why. It's just fucking vile, man.
Not willing to take responsibility and accountability. This district attorney is gaslighting you, and now you know. Like I asked you in the beginning, in your opinion, who is the criminal here? And if you want to help, remember, the only thing they're afraid of is other people seeing what you just watched. So share the footage far and wide and subscribe.
Anyway, yeah, wow, dude. Absolutely wild. And this dude's channel has, like, God, I don't know, hundreds of these cases. I would say hundreds probably, yeah. Maybe dozens. Because I know I barely have 1,000 videos out on my main channel, if that. And I've been doing it for 10 years. So, yeah. Probably in the low hundreds, if anything. But anyway, just wild, man. Absolutely fucking wild.